day after Christmas, and I'm home. I'm in rural western Maine. Town population 976. So I'm in the passenger seat of a car being driven at highly unsafe speeds by my sister towards the nursing home where my grandmother lives. Don't worry, she's fine. But about 10 minutes earlier, Grammy had called up to the house wanting to chat with Dad, and we'd overheard her mention that the country music player was there at the nursing home to give a little concert. And that's when my sister and I mobilized. We found my brother-in-law and we said, get into the car now. And so now here we are, we're speeding through town, 976 people, just electrified with this secret knowledge about who it is that is going to be performing shortly here at the nursing home. And it was none other than country music superstar Kenny Chesney, perhaps best known for his 1990 hit, She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy. Now, I see on your face, some of your faces, the same type of doubt that my brother-in-law Sam was expressing as we skidded into the nursing home parking lot. Why on earth would Kenny Chesney be in Maine performing at the nursing home of a town with 976 people in it on the day after Christmas? Now, some of you might think Sam's got a point. But allow me to present to you the following facts of the case to see if that might subdue some of your skepticism. See, about in 2010, there had been a new house that was built in town. And because it's it's really nice, in the woods, it has great lake views, and because it's a town of 976 people, very shortly, everyone in town knew that the town was owned and had been built by a longtime employee and close personal friend of Kenny Chesney. And further, Mr. Kenneth Arnold Chesney, born March 26, 1968, had often come to visit his close personal friend, and at those times he was often spotted around town, just hanging out. He'd been spotted by such reliable witnesses as my father. Now, in what I'm sure is just purely coincidence, around this same time a couple years ago, residents of the local nursing home were occasionally treated to a concert by a man named Bill Lake, who, by all accounts, was an extraordinary country musician with a delightful southern drawl. Now, ladies and gentlemen of First Person Arts, I ask you, is it so hard to believe that Kenny Chesney, while visiting a friend, might pop down to the local nursing home to just do a little nice country croon with the town's elderly residents? Or could you believe, like I do, that Kenny Chesney is the kind of American hero that would do precisely that? So we enter in, one thing's for sure, we enter into the nursing home and the halls were quiet as a mouse. There was no one to be seen. And so we followed the faint twangs and yee-haws that were wafting down the hallways until we found every resident and every staff member crammed into the activity room, singing and hooting and hollering and clapping along with the man in the cowboy hat up front with his American flag guitar. It was Kenny Chesney. Now, this guy, he was cranking through Johnny Cash. He's cranking through Alan Jackson. He's crooning old, sort of twangy Christmas carols, day after Christmas. And while he's doing this, I'm Googling picture after picture to make sure to kind of confirm what I'm seeing. And sure as shit, it's Kenny Chesney. And, I mean, let me tell you, Kenny Chesney is making Bill Lake, sorry, not Kenny Chesney. Bill Lake. So he's making every single resident feel like they are front and center at the concert of the century, right? He's taking requests. He's walking in between the wheelchairs, jamming out with people. He fills the lives of those residents for over an hour with music, with nostalgic songs, with joy, and with kindness. Now, many of us probably have relatives that live in nursing homes, and they're tough spaces. It's difficult to see your grandparents or your parents reduced to such a fragile form, and perhaps sometimes more difficultly, it's hard to see the loneliness and the sadness of other people's grandparents who just sort of seem like forgotten dust bunnies. I think all of us have a fear of being forgotten, and nursing homes sort of crank that on a high gear. But today, it wasn't echoing with sadness and loneliness. It was quite literally humming with the sounds and the melodies of joy and with happiness and with memories. So me and my sister, we're very chilled out about this whole situation. We're very, very subtle. We're, because he's not here for us. He's here for the residents. So we're taking our Snapchat videos very slyly and putting on very chill captions secret Kenny Chesney concert and sending them to all of our friends. And afterwards we decide that we're going to go up to thank Bill Lake for, taking the time to come and sing to my grandmother. He's a super generous guy, really, really kind. He held my sister's baby and took some pictures with us, which we then immediately Snapchatted out to our friends with super chill captions oh my God, we're BFFs with Kenny Chesney. So we get into the car, and on our way home, my brother-in-law, Sam, he voices an almost untenable thought. He says, I don't think that Bill Lake is Kenny Chesney. He presents into evidence the website of Bill Lake, which informs us that Bill Lake has recently been nominated as Up-and-Coming Performer of the Year by the Maine Country Music Association. Me and my sister counter, it's a fake website. You know, I'm sorry, the likeness, it's too close, it's too uncanny for this to be fake. And I mean, let's just put it on the table. Bill Lake, that is the fakest sounding fake name in the history of fake names that a charitable country music singer could ever adopt. Okay, so Sam presents into evidence perhaps public records that show that Bill Lake just lives like a couple towns down the road and his businesses are registered there. And me and Molly say, hey, no, it's a common name. That's what makes it a good fake name. Yeah, but Sam presents to us Bill Lake's schedule, and it's just an ongoing, just sort of never-ending tour of nursing homes and rehab clinics and seafood restaurants, and we say, the ruse has got to look real, you know? Is it what Garth Brooks had an elaborate alter identity for years? I mean, the precedent is there. This is how you do a fake identity, Sam. Come on. The debate raged for months. Is Bill Lake or is Bill Lake Kenny Chesney? Until one day, my sister and her husband receive an envelope from an anonymous source whose handwriting looked mysteriously like my father's, who had done some sleuthing and solved the mystery. But I put it to you, first person out. Who thinks Bill Lake is just Bill Lake? Who thinks Bill Lake is Kenny Chesney? We opened the envelope. I wasn't even there. They opened the envelope. Bill Lake is not Kenny Chesney. So my story about discovering the secret good deeds of a celebrity has not come to pass, but we did discover just the everyday common goodwill of a guy who brought music to people who needed it and who used his skills to make grandparents feel alive and young and vibrant again. And although our motivations were misguided, if completely rational, I hope that my sister and I made him for a moment feel like a superstar, a hero singing if unsung. Thank you.